we're gonna have, this is the way we're gonna do it. At 3:15, they're gonna come in there and then they get changed right away. And even after they change, they play around, I let them play. We start at 3:30 on the dot, right? Which means, right, and this is, let me come a bit closer here. Now this is why I'm saying that you're related, that I'm gonna be, honestly, I think before, what I'm saying there, you're probably not going to be happy. Because before teacher candidates, I just allow them things. But I think this year, because I'm preparing now to maybe open can you believe it? I can. It's going to become an institution. So I'm going to be, what I'm saying, I'm going to be more on top of things in terms of how I want things done. Because I feel before I used to spend so much time in the martial arts and making sure it's right. And I think this year what I want to do is more be a real resource to you in terms of how I want to see things done. So in that way now you're going to get a fuller benefit from it. Because for instance, remember what I just said, right? I said, well, okay, so at 3:15 that at time, and then 3:30 on the dot, right? I'm always time. In fact, if you want to make me happy other than the tea, right, give me a clock or something. I can't have enough clocks. Clocks are all over. I don't have furniture, honestly. Tell me, he trains at my place. I don't have furniture, I have clocks. Because time to me is so for me, as soon as you see it coming to 3:30 now, then you have to decide now, because kids are that way. Because I know that it's sheesh. Because you got to start preparing like from 3:20, 3:25 to get them there mentally. Just want to start doing. Because if you wait until 3:30, it's and they don't care about you and they don't care about time. I'm trying to get them, but I'm gonna let all that work that I used to do before, right? You guys gonna have to do it now. Because you're gonna have to do it for your own class. So you got to know that by 3:30 now, I all want them sitting there and ready for me now, ready to go. And then we'll plan the lesson, washroom. In fact, I think I'm going to implement a rule, only one for now. When I was training, you could never go to the washroom while you're training. That's it, once you get there. I'm going to be a bit more, I'm going to say it once, and then we're going to eliminate it completely. So they can only, because some of them just go because they want a break too, and it's too much. Kids have all kinds, and the other thing is too, right, it's a discipline. Because when you leave, you lose something. Like they don't really know that, but when you leave the room, you lose something. So one washroom break and that's it, right? And monitor it and all these things we're going to talk them about, right? So what we'll probably do, so we have the boys. So what I'll probably do, right? The boys class is a bit more advanced because I started them last year. So I'm going to pick you up very quickly with that. But the girls' class, they're going to be starting new. In fact, the girls' class are not starting until October, the first Monday in October. So what's going to happen? The boys will be there for about 45 minutes. Then they go to the room to be at the homework club, to tutor and whatever. What we might do, I might just split up. I might have two of you stay in the Mars. I don't know. We're going to work that out. I don't want to think too much about that now. Maybe Monday we'll just talk more about that. So we rotate. So the boys move, and then the girls come in now to train in the martial arts. But they'll be doing the tutoring before. That's right. So we just rotate because that's how we work the space. So it's 5 of you. So what we might do, right? We might, I will work on something. We'll have to think about that. But the time, then 3:30. So the boys will go from 3:30 to 4:15. That's right. So at 4:15 now, bang, right? They go and when they go in, and again, when they go into the other room, right, it's got to be all orderly. It's not a rushing and whatever, and they sit. So you got to, all that traffic and stuff like that, I'm gonna let you handle that. It's gotta be like very orderly and just sit at the desk and you know, it can be a melee. And then the other, like all these transition moments, right, it's gotta be smooth and harmonious, right? Because that's part of what we're trying to teach them, right? And then the girls come in, how they talking to each other, you know, how they relate to each other. Like, look at their body, look. And you know what I find sometimes too, like I mean, I had to do that because I'm a trained referee too. Sometimes you have to anticipate it, like you might, you know what I believe that focus is, and we learned that. I mean, I was an international fighter, and I can tell you, right, you got to see them before, you got to read the mind even before they get there, because if they want, by the time they get there, it's too late. So we learn to anticipate a lot. So to me, you were being watchful and focused, right, if you can see it before it happens. And sometimes you can see it, you know, some of them are talking, and you know it's blowing up, bang, it get up, but you have to ask, hey, you go over there. And let me tell you something now. If you can do that with kids, after a while, you have more control over them, because by the time they know, if you can see them before it happens, say, oh my goodness, how did she know? And they're going to be watching for you all the time. Now, when you know, it's funny, right? When you think about, you know, I always think about the psychology, it's just raw psychology. In fact, teaching kids got me a bit cynical too, because it's such basic psychology, but you know what I love about it, right? It's so real. It's so, like, it's so practical and real, because, you see, and this is, I would love to do seminars on this at some point. The doctor once told us that, he said, oh, well, just take away his pacifier, because we were complaining that the kid, he's high, or this kid, then he's still with the, he said, just take it away from him, you're the parent. We took it away from him and I stopped with the pacifier. And that's what I tell all parents and teachers, you have the power, just tell them. This one kid I remember, he used to, the so-called attention seekers. And so what I did with him, I said, go and sit there and just look at the wall. And this kid he was just in a fury, because, and every time he tried to turn, I said, no, face the wall. Because somebody's attention seeker and the wall is there, then there's nothing there, man. And they hate that. Like, I was taught about consequences from a really good psychologist. And we had a whole course about consequencing, and it's a very, in fact, people don't really understand. Consequencing is an art. Like, the consequences has to be so exact with the behavior, and if you can, because the kid recognizes it. My eldest son, right, he's trained, right? He said, Daddy, it's my time. Like, when he goes there, he said, he doesn't try to fight the consequence. He tried to, I thought you said I had another 2 minutes. I said, you're right. He likes to serve his time. And when I give them a timeout, it's not 5 minutes, like it's like an hour. Because I like, you know, so we're shocked, we don't want that timeout, you know, because it's an hour, you know, like the whole day is gone. So they know I'm very drastic, right? But the consequence in, like a parent, like this one parent, he came to my class. I said, well, what happened to your son's uniform? He said, well, no, sorry. What was it? I told him he couldn't come to your karate class. I said, well, why? He said, well, he was misbehaving in class. I said, well, you know, that's what you're paying him money for, and he's losing something. Don't consequence him with that. Like, don't consequence him if you're going to take away something that he's going to benefit from. You know, like, it doesn't make sense to me. Find something else, right? But the attention seeker, let him sit against the wall or her. Because that's the perfect thing, because then you can't get anybody's attention. It's just you on the wall. And every time you do that, they don't do it again. One kid quit the program after that, because it was such a unnerving thing. So whenever you're consequenting somebody, and you're free to do that, I can tell you when you come to my program. You know, like you're free to consequence them because it's, you know, it's what parents and teachers do. So I'm saying, but it's got to be like very logical, like make it very logical, and they'll understand, and you know they'll get it, you know. So I want you to connect to the. So what's going to happen? I think you're here until March, right? Yeah. Okay. So maybe by you're here September, October, November. So maybe we'll have a grading. Excuse me, around by December. Invite all the parents. And then we'll get you to help to organize that, because we'll have a grading and all the parents will come and you help me organize that whole thing. And that's a way for you to connect with the parents. So after that now, if there's any contact now, you know, they want to talk about what they can have access to you, that's right. Because I really want you to connect in a real sense, the teachers too at the school. I'm going to find out which teachers are teaching them and let you have that. We'll work it out. That we'll make this like a real thing, like, you know, let's, what I'm trying to do, right, is like if you actually are a teacher now that working in a school and making it real. That way you can see some of the things and the challenges too. Okay, the organization evolved from a community base, and remember I told Mr. LaRose, track data, yeah, that's right. I have my website out, you can check that out. Okay, activity and tasks associated with present. Prepare site for martial arts and tutoring, mentoring activities. So like we did today, like, okay, so when we go to the gym, it's gotta be clear. I mean, a martial arts thing, it's gotta be, in fact, we used to sweep in the toe, there used to be a whole, but just make sure there's not rubbish on the floor and stuff like that. Things are out of the way. We usually take them from a run. Every class have a run for the fitness aspect, stamina. So make sure that there's no bag. And what I like when the child comes in, I'm very fussy about things like these because part of the program, you know, they come in and that's what a kid. They just throw the bags down. That's what a lot of them do. Or they take off the shoe and just kick it off. I don't like things like that, right? They have to put the shoe neatly and they put the bag, like all that stuff you gotta be looking at, right? Make sure that they do it, right?
So for my section on, because I'm on Fridays,
Yeah.
I do the same things, right?
Yeah, it's the same, all these things are to you. The only thing that will be different to you is it's a different, like we don't have a rotating program, but the same thing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. So make sure that they know that, and I'm going to show you how you tie the belts and stuff like that too. Okay, and then you prepare the room where they're going to be mentored. Now, the principal is going to give us a special room too. So when they finish, it's a classroom. So they just go to, and it's already prepared. Alright? Kids shouldn't have gum chewing while they play. They know that, right? But check for things like that, right? They can't leave the class without asking you. That must never happen. Organize children for martial art, tutoring activities, that's right. Behavior management and peer, behavior, how they behave, like again, you got to be assertive with them, right? And if they behave in a certain way, like to point out, no, you don't do that. Hopefully we'll have a consistency. I don't know, people say, I don't see, there might be different values around that, but if so, I'll point it out to you. It's, if it comes up. Attendance and monitor attendance. I want to make up an attendance sheet with you. For you to take attendance too, but for the kids too, like all that. If anybody else wants to, I don't want to single out my friend here, but she was telling me about how, I like to organize things. That I do the organization of the attendance and all that. If anybody else wants a job, you're free to. assistant report writing and evaluation. I don't know how much you might have to do about that because I've had an offer for the university study program this year. You might not have to do that, but don't worry about that for now. Okay, assistant organization and program maintenance and development. That's the open thing. Like, okay, I should ask you now, like, I want to launch, shucks, I should have, what time is it?